morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. So today I'm going to talk about Databricks and Power BI with YugabyteDB. As many of you already using Azure Databricks for your different use cases. With that, I'm quickly introduce myself, Bala. I'm working as Principal Solution Engineer as part of APJ team and based out of India. Yeah, so I'm just going to cover a couple of things on the Azure Databricks, mainly in terms of like how YugabyteDB and Azure are going to gel together and helping us really in terms of solving some of the complex use cases. With that, I will quickly go to the background of Azure Databricks. As many of you know, Azure Databricks is again Azure hosted Databricks version where it supports all the standard Databricks features like Databricks SQL, data science, and engineering features of like how people can quickly use their PySpark or Scala-based code to load the data and even to do some sort of analysis and analytics. Apart from that, it also supports the Spark ML libraries where data scientists need a lot of machine learning models. So based on the data, what they already ingested in the Delta Lake. So how Yugabyte DB really unifies this Azure Databricks in various different scenarios, right? As you know, the left side, there are different storages are available today in Microsoft Azure, where we used to get data from IoT Hub from the different IoT sensors. Event Hub is mainly being used for pushing a lot of events coming out of applications like API-based events or non-API-based events like log events, right? All those things are coming through the Event Hub. Delta Lake is known to all of us, like where we used to get a lot of raw data from different formats, and even ADLS Gen 2 is again another data lake product from Microsoft Azure, and Blob Store, where we all know, which is used to store a lot of different formats of data for Azure, like Azure Table Storage, right? Azure Blobs, Azure Container Storage, and all those things. Um, on the right side, if you look at YugabyteDB has its query layer, which is YCQL and the YSQL API, where that can seamlessly connect with Azure Databricks through standard connectors or even some of the YugabyteDB specific drivers, where you can easily install it, and then once that is done, where the data can seamlessly flow across YugabyteDB and Azure Databricks to various storages. Um, the middle arrows, as you see, the fast data load, real-time data synchronization, batch processing, large volume of data import and export. These are all the primary goals today where people are really using Azure Databricks. On the right side, where YugabyteDB is also one among the database or data source for Azure Databricks to get all those things sorted out. But today we are spending a lot of effort on these set of activities on the YugabyteDB, where people need to write some app or a custom app to even ingest some of the fast data or a real-time data. So this may not be required, where you can easily use Azure Databricks, which we can leverage through the notebooks with a fraction of code or a minimum number of code. Easily we can crack it out, and we can bring the integration where both Azure Databricks and YugabyteDB can seamlessly interact. People might be questioning, right? Like why this integration is important and what sort of use cases this really going to be analyzed in YugabyteDB. Uh, See, today we are getting Azure IoT Hub, where that will be a central place to collect data from different sensors, different actuators, and all the different Azure Edge storages and other places. YugabyteDB can use this IoT hub directly and bring those sort of transactional data which is required for some of the business use cases, where they can straight away plug these Azure Databricks and connect the IoT hub. Straight away they can get the data. This sort of activities will involve very minimal effort, and people can easily bring the data what is required from the IoT hub perspective. Some of them might be using it for a large Parquet file. I don't know how to bring the Parquet file inside YugabyteDB. So Azure Databricks is one of the solution where you can seamlessly bring the Parquet file or JSON file or even Delta file, name it, anything whatever supports by Azure Databricks, you can easily bring it inside YugabyteDB with the help of Azure Databricks. Delta Lake is continuously receiving some of the micro batches where people need to bring some of the low latency queries where they can easily connect some of the data immediately through YugabyteDB rather than um, aging it for some time and then aggregating for some time in the Delta Lake. So these kind of activities can be seamless where you can directly plug your Delta Lake micro batches load into YugabyteDB and you can continuously receive these data in your app itself where your app is based on YugabyteDB as a backend, right? Another interesting thing like event-based streaming through Event Hub. This is another classic use case where people can use stream analytics to put a sync outside from Event Hub. But here Azure Databricks can bridge the gap between Event Hub to YugabyteDB, where you can directly connect your Event Hub and bring those necessary data directly to your YugabyteDB without much of coding. And you can even aggregate whatever data required at the Databricks level rather than you want to do the heavy lifting at the YugabyteDB level. So these are the integration scenarios. So with that, I'm going to show some of the demos out of these 4 use cases. So 2 of them, I'm going to show the demo, the real-time data synchronization and the data offloading perspective, how we can use Databricks for YugabyteDB. I will straight away go to the demo. So if you look at the screen, what you can see the Yugabyte platform. This is where I used a 3-node cluster to host it in Azure, where you can see here all the 3 nodes are live, and all of them are currently mounted in West US uh, cloud zone. You can see here, and this is the place currently the database is running, and it is running in good health. You can see that, and all the tables as well as all the nodes are healthy. Now, when I'm going back to the Azure Databricks, now I'm going to connect this particular cluster and see how I'm going to seamlessly interact Azure Databricks to YugabyteDB. So I will start off with YSQL load, and then I will take YCQL. Then I will take the Azure streaming, like the Spark streaming as well. All right. So if you look at it, this is the place where I just connecting from Azure Databricks to YugabyteDB. So as you can see, I'm just using the JDBC connector, and this is my IP address. So if you go back to this node, I connected with this particular node, which is 10.12.16.6. So you can see here. So this is exactly the port 5433. And I'm reading my employee table with the user ID and password. I also configured the SSL true, so where I enable the YSQL auth on my platform. And then I'm just showing what it is coming out of this data frame. And I'm also creating a data bricks view, which is the delta table view, just to store the data in this view itself. So with that, I will quickly share and run it. So if you look at it, I'm just running the cell now. As you can see, it's immediately bringing the data. As you can see, like what it is being stored. Now I'm querying my sample view, what I kept it with the same record. As you can see, it is immediately coming up. Now I'm going to write the data, right? So for example, now I'm going to, I show now I read the data from YugabyteDB and I'm bringing it to Azure Databricks into a data frame. Similarly, I want to even take this data from external sources directly to YugabyteDB, where I want to load a CSV file, which may be a huge CSV file directly through CSV to YugabyteDB. But what I'm doing in my data frame, I'm taking the CSV, storing it as a Parquet, but then I'm loading the Parquet file, which is much more faster because it's columnar. So I'm really going to see the performance here. So if you just run CSV alone, it will be really huge performance. Latency will be high, and but Parquet will be even super fast because it stores columnar and it's along with metadata. The data loading will be much faster. As you can see here, CSV to convert it into Parquet. Then I'm loading this data directly to one of the table called the sales profit details. So now it's loading in the Spark jobs. As you can see, it's about to complete. Yeah, it's completed in 12 seconds. If you look at it, if I just connect my Yugabyte YSQL shell, as you can see here, I'm just going to query the table. What I just loaded the data. This is my sales profit analysis, what I just loaded from the Parquet. So I'm just going to see how quick it is coming. Yeah, so it's been loaded. So this is how like you can easily ingest a Parquet file into Yugabyte. It's going to be seamless. Similarly, if you want to just read a Parquet and even you want to query what is there in the Parquet, right? So you can see here, I'm just loading one of the sample Parquet within the Databricks. I'm just querying it, what it is actually inside. So you can see here, right? So all my Parquet are already stored in this DBFS directory. So one of the directory is DBFS directory, like where you can see here, this is the place I'm just going to see, right? So where if you look at my Hive directory, under I have my root directory. So all these the files are being created here with this structure. Similarly, I have other places. So for example, if you look at it, um, where my user table under Hive, see here is where my warehouse. You can see here all my sample view, sample table for all those things are coming in the Parquet format, right? So you can see here. So this is how I'm just quickly reading it. One of the Parquet, what you can see here. Yeah. Another good part here is like you can even read a Parquet directly store it in Yugabyte, which I explained. Similarly, you can even use the same data frame, write it into a table, and then write it back to your Parquet as well. For example, now I have a data in YugabyteDB. I want to read first, then I want to write it into a Parquet. So for example, I want, this is an export scenario. What we have seen the import scenario with the Delta and Parquet. Similarly, we are going to see like export scenario here. So export scenario is like you have a huge data where you want to offload the data because your databases keep growing. Because Yugabyte DB is typically handle the OLTP kind of a workload where you want to offload this data for your warehouse purpose or any analytics purpose. The good part is if you're already using Azure Databricks, you have the answer where you can seamlessly connect this and convert it into a batch job where you can continuously bring it inside your Delta Lake through Databricks, whatever format. In this example, I'm just using a Parquet file. So for example, if I'm running it here, as you can see here, I'm just reading a table, sales profit analysis, same table what I loaded. I'm just bringing into one temp directory of sales profit. So I'm just overwriting the sales profit table. As you can see here, if I go back to my DBFS Databricks file system, if I go to my temp directory, so inside the temp directory, I just put it. You can see here the sales profit. Here you can see so all those data which is already been stored here, right? Which is in the Parquet format. Okay, so another interesting thing is like as I explained with Parquet CSV, how you can even easily load Delta table, also easily loadable, because Delta versus Parquet, as you know, the difference is Delta maintains the versioning. That's why people are heavily using Delta file inside your Azure Databricks. Mainly the Delta Lake is being built to support this format along with Parquet, but this is nothing but the Parquet uh, kind of file, but it holds the versioning. So that's the beauty of Delta file. So again, YugabyteDB, you can easily bring a Delta file. You don't need to work on any connectors. So if I'm running, this is my Delta file, which is there in my Hive directory. I'm just bringing into a table called a test Delta. So if I go back to my Yugabyte YSQL command prompt, I'm just selecting the test Delta, as you can see. So it is coming up here. So whatever I loaded, this is all being available here. Another interesting thing is like sometimes you may be wondering if this data can be successfully loaded into YugabyteDB, and what sort of analysis even I want to do it quickly in Azure Databricks. Azure Databricks is supporting all your visualization part of the notebook. As you can see here, if I'm reading some of the data, example the sales profit analysis, before I'm exporting to a Delta Lake or even to other format, whether if they I need to do any sort of aggregation, if this is a huge transactional data and I want to do it maybe an aggregation of weekly level or monthly level, so Databricks can handle such kind of a workload. So for example, if I'm running this job here, you can see, right? So immediately I can build a visualization and see how much volume is there and what is the profit, what sort of left the x-axis and y-axis I can plot it. This will help me to really see like what sort of aggregation I need to plan it at the Databricks side, so that it will at least help me to do some level of aggregation before I move the data to outside, or even I can even filter some of the data which is not required, right? So this is a region-wise profit analysis I just did. Yeah, so you can see here I did some aggregation as well. So yeah, so with that, this is helping you to understand how YSQL and Azure Databricks can be connected to bring all the workload um, between these two with the help of Azure Databricks. When I say YSQL, it's just not alone YSQL compatibility is supported by Databricks. It also takes care of YSQL. I'm going to show in the next demo. Um, as you see, YSQL is mainly for our NewSQL kind of a workload or a Cassandra-based workload. People will be using it for semi-relational or non-relational kind of data. So if you are bringing any sort of non-relational data where you want to quickly bring it to YSQL, where you don't want to again write another coding to bring from your Azure Data Lake or even Azure Event Hub or IoT Hub directly to YugabyteDB. Databricks is the bridge here, so where it easily connects, help you to bring it up. So before going to connect, like YSQL, you have seen I used a plain JDBC, quickly connected. I don't need any additional driver in my Spark end. But YSQL needs some sort of additional driver where it's been customized at YugabyteDB to support some specific driver for our YSQL load. So here I already loaded the driver, the YSQL Cassandra Spark driver. So for example, this is the driver I already loaded, which is called com.yugabyte Spark Cassandra Connector Assembly 2.12 version, which is running currently on 3.0 Spark. So how I attached and install this, it's a very simple step. You can even do it by going to install new, go to Maven repository, search the packages, click from Maven Central, you just type Yugabyte. So you can able to bring all those things. So for example, this is your Spark Cassandra connector, what I just brought it already, right? So if you can select here, it will go and attach it inside your library. After that, you just need to restart your Spark cluster then it will goes to all the nodes and making sure that this library is being completely available for that to connect your YSQL kind of load. So now I'm switching back to my notebook. So as I explained, now I'm going to test my connection. So here also I'm just bringing the YSQL load. As you can see here, this is my Cassandra connection host. So where I used all my 3 nodes, even one of the node failover, at least the other 2 can still take my load. That's why I given all the IP address here. And 9042 is my port to connect my YSQL. Cassandra is the user ID and this is my password. And I just used Cassandra Spark extension to make sure all the necessary SQL extensions are also available. And I have used the local DCS WestUS2. That is where I installed my Yugabyte currently. And more important, here you can see just reading the schema from this table. Employee use the key space as Bala. Now I'm going to run and show you how quick this YSQL connectivity can be established in um, Databricks. You can see here, this is bringing up. So this is my structure and this is my um, data frame view, like what is there sitting today. So the same thing, what you can see in YSQL screen as well, if you log into the YSQL command shell. If I just quickly show here. So I'm just going to my YSQL. This is my key space. So if you look at it, select star from employee. That's a table I just shown. So as you can see, this is the same table as you can see here in Databricks. The good part here is like it just after the driver is being established, the rest of the codes are the similar code, like how you can connect through your Spark either through Scala or Python. Here I use the Python code. So similarly, I also shown like how I can do an import and export through Databricks. Same like a Parquet file, Delta file, all those things are even supported here. Like you can see here, I'm writing the data by selecting a dedicated field from an order data frame, which is an order table in Databricks. And I'm loading this particular query output into one of my table called a sales profit test in the same key space as you can see here. So if I run this code here, what I'm doing is I'm reading a Parquet file, writing into a Databricks table, and then I'm loading into YSQL. It's not required that you need a middleman or a middle table here. You can directly load to Parquet, but here I just shown because you can even filter some of the data. For example, I have 120 column in my Parquet file. I don't want to load all my 120 column. I can pick and choose what is required for YugabyteDB. So this is where you can easily do selected columns to YSQL table. So it's been now loaded. As you can see, just a selected table only, selected column only being loaded. So I'm just showing only the top 2 rows here, because I just told to show 2. So yeah, so this is exactly what I loaded. Now if I go back to my YSQL, if I just check whether this table is being loaded. So this is my YSQL command shell. So if I'm just running it here, so you can see it's been loaded, right? So I selected only 10 rows, which is being loaded from the Parquet file. So you can just see the table. I have not created this table already because it's on the fly. It's been created based on the primary key, what is coming out of that. So you can see here. So this is being automatically setting the order ID as a primary key, and then this is being loaded inside. Yeah, so it's all quick, and it has been very good integration. Features are there between Azure Databricks and YugabyteDB. We can really spend very minimal time to load the data between any sources of Azure, like a data lake or a Delta lake, or even from Blob Store directly to your YugabyteDB. Similarly, you can even export the data from YugabyteDB to these Azure stores, right? So the data store or data storages can bring any data with the help of this Databricks. So similarly, I also just analyzed like how this Parquet file, which is another Parquet file, I'm just loading into an employee table. And also I just explained how I can read a Parquet and load it directly, what I just shown. This is another example. I am also going to export this table into a Parquet format directly into a Parquet file. Here I'm going to run, my table is running in sales profit details, as you can see here, which is there in my YSQL, where I can even write it. So the same way like how I did for other places, I can even use YSQL or YSQL, depends upon what sort of output required from either one of them and which data is required uh, for analytics purpose. You can do it in a single notebook itself. You can easily schedule that and bring the data from YugabyteDB to outside world. Yeah, so the power of Databricks is really helping you on understanding like how you can do both import and export and do the analysis and all those things. My next demo, I'm going to show how I'm going to even stream the data from Databricks, whatever is coming from, assume like tomorrow you are going to bring it in IoT Hub or Event Hub. I'm just simulating the similar data from streaming and directly bringing into one of the YSQL table. So I already brought this data, which is a flight delay data and a flight arrival data, like from different aircrafts, as you can see. This has been available already. So I'm just putting into my temp directory. If I can just run it here, as you can see, this is all been available. And so you can see here. So if I just to show my directory also where I kept it. So inside the Databricks file system, if I go to Databricks file system, under temp, in my username, you can see the new flights where you can see plenty of CSV file. I'm going to now stream it through Azure Databricks, and directly the streamed data is going to one of my YSQL table. I'm going to split the data again between batch versus interactive processing. So I just going to take some of these data even for my um, analysis purpose, where I don't want to bring all the data to YSQL or YCQL, but I can even analyze any specific data required for an aggregation or what sort of data is can be aggregated by looking at the data. So if you can see here, I just taken the file, the CSV file, I analyzed what are the structured data available, and I'm just checking those fields and whether I'm just creating and seeing whether the CSV file is now being brought into one of the data frame. I'm just displaying this data. Okay, this is what the flight details, the flight number, and the flight arrival, sorry, the departure time and the reason for the delay, extreme weather or which airline and all those things. This is a static delay. I'm preparing it because this is a batch wise. I'm just running it from an hourly basis. So I'm just keeping another data frame to keep all my static data. After that, I'm bringing my streaming data. So this is my streaming data. So I'm keeping a max file trigger for one. So I'm just taking a sequence of file as a stream by selecting one file at a time. So that's exactly what I'm just going to run here now. As you can see, now the streaming is going to start as I just loaded the data into my streaming flights data frame. I'm just checking, I'm going to put streaming on this data frame correctly or not. It is going to tell yes, streaming is true, whereas my static delay is not streamed. That's a batch one, so it has to say false. So it should say false. Now you can do either write into a Parquet file, or then you can read the Parquet file and load it into Yugabyte, or you can directly even take that data frame and write it into a stream. You can see the write stream, and I'm continuously updating the data and bringing into my YSQL table, right? So for example, now I'm just running this. I'm streaming that the data frame. I'm writing as a stream, not writing as a single write. You can see here the streaming started. So if you look at the streaming is started now, you can see how it's going on. As you can see the batch duration, what is the batch latest, an average second it is taking to read the data for each CSV file. Now I'm going to check what table I'm writing it as, like a stream as a table, which I'm just going to put it into my YSQL, sorry, YSQL table. Just logging in into YSQL. I'm just going out of YSQL prompt. Now I'm going to my YSQL as such. I'm going to select the table stream. So let me just, as you can see, it is continuously streaming. So this is a flight delay table. So for example, now I'm going to say select count of star from stream. So it's keep increasing, as you can see. Um, so if I just truncate and load it again, truncate table. So you can see it is continuously streaming, right? So it's keep increasing. So for example, now I'm just reading one of the table here. As you can see, it is continuously going. Yeah, of course, there are some minor delay on reading the CSV, but this is not the case for your actual stream. So where you can see here, it's continuously streaming the data. With this dashboard, you can see that, and you can also see the batch data, like how it is continuously streaming. This is the data what I'm actually streaming it inside. So my streaming is continuously going on. I didn't stop it. The job is continuously going on. Um, yeah, so now if I just see that, you can see 63 records are being loaded. So it's keep increasing. Yeah, so that's how we can see even stream can be supported directly from your Azure Databricks to YugabyteDB. So this proves that at least you can do a batch load or a stream load from different um, hub or even direct storage from your Azure to YugabyteDB. So that's how this integration is going to be seamless to solve your complex use cases from a real-time data loading perspective or even a batch data loading perspective. So with that, I will quickly go to my next demo on Power BI. So if I just explain what is the Power BI role of um, the Yugabyte DB and how Power BI integration is going to help with Yugabyte DB. Yugabyte DB is another database for Power BI as a data source. It can connect with the same connectors like Postgres or through ODBC. It doesn't support the direct query because the direct query is not being allowed in Power BI currently. So that's why you can use either an import option or directly through your ODBC, which is again an import option in Power BI. I'm going to show the demo. As you all know, Power BI is one of the leading visualization tool. It helps you to do minimal analysis to an augmented analysis with various sort of data. But when you are really going to take the data of Yugabyte DB, which is already been storing the data in different formats, different sort of indexes are being already there, you really need to take Power BI to see the data. So that's how where you can understand the true value of the data, and you can even do sort of query analysis or a complex transformation or aggregation inside your Power BI, which you can avoid Yugabyte DB to do a lot of heavy lifting, and which is not even required because your data is going to be more transactional in Yugabyte DB. Your Power BI is going to solve all your MIS dashboard or any sort of real-time dashboard. You can easily plug those Yugabyte DB with your Power BI visualization tools and visuals actually. I'm going to log into one of my VM where I currently put my Power BI. So this is one of the sample data I loaded in my Yugabyte DB, which is a music album, which is a lot of text data, which is currently being indexed with the GIN index. The good part is this is a music album data where I'm just going to give it to Power BI and tell me like what sort of instruments are already there and what are all the different uh, uh, the musical albums are being popular and who has done more review, and all those questions I'm going to ask through a Q&A module. So with this Q&A module where people can easily write a pure English like a natural language, which you don't need to do it again with your Yugabyte DB query, right? Because it's going to be even more expensive, but you will really get the natural language support on top of Power BI, and people we can build a lot of visuals seamlessly with Power BI. How do I connect Power BI? First of all, with Yugabyte DB, right? You can click through ODBC data source. Here I used my Postgres driver. So if you look at the Postgres driver, I can take a Postgres driver, I can enter my database server username, all those details, then I can save it. That's it. So this is what I did for my current connection. You can see 69 is one of the IP address what I shown previously. And these are all my detail, and my port is 5433. And even SSL mode I configured because this is already auth enabled or TLS enabled. So if I'm just testing it from here, connection is successful. That means I'm good to go and proceed my YugabyteDB. Another option is I can even go to get data. I can even get maybe through a Postgres connector. I can even easily connect with the help of Postgres, and I can do that as well, right? So if you can see here, if I just type Postgres, it can tell you here. Postgres also you can do that if you are not going to use SSL based connection. You can even use here directly with the help of import. Direct queries are not supported through Postgres currently with even Power BI, so it will not be possible. So only you have to use import option where you have to bring the data inside your Power BI, then you can play it around. As you can see, I already brought two of my tables here. Then I did all my analysis, and I can even do transformation, and all those features are available. I can even go to any visuals which is available. Even I can bring my R or Python kind of visuals with PyPlot, or even any R visuals where my data scientist can really use their existing visuals which has been built for histogram or anything. They can use it and bring it here actually. So the good part of Power BI, even it supports desktop version as well as web version. As you can see here, I'm just going to show the web version here. So here I'm just showing you like ask a question. So for example, this is my web version, like what is a profit, right? So what is a profit is one word. It is telling me already. I don't want to go to any visuals. I'm just typing it here. I want to see whether meat profit, how much it is, right? It is recommending like meat. You want to know which is an item type? Yes, I'm asking. So in sub-Saharan African, what is the total? And all those things are there. So I'm just clicking sub-Saharan African from here. I'm able to see the slice of how this data is being here. So this is the beauty of Power BI is really giving the value to you, where you can see your data profit is completely right, where you can really see for example, I want to know sales channel, right? I want to know what type of sales channel. I'm just bringing it. So I'm just taking a regional sales channel by all those things with the help of offline and online data. Just choosing here how much is my online profit and how much is my offline profit, and what is my order count. So automatically it is summarizing. This is another beauty of that. So if you look at it, this is not something I wrote it. It's automatically built by Power BI. It's telling at 132 Europe had the highest count. You can see here based on this entire visual, it's giving the summary or commentary, right? So this is what you can build a story, right? Like how data storytelling is important. So this is one of the niche feature of Power BI. By bringing your Yugabyte DB, you can really talk about the data to your business, like how good that you brought it and how Yugabyte DB is helping them by through this visualization. Yeah, with that I'm just signing off here. Thank you once again. Enjoy your rest of the sessions in DSS. Thanks a lot. Have a great day and rest of the week. Thank you so much.